Hey guys, it is Carl Brown from GuitarLessons365.com. I have a great track for you today. We're going to learn how to play Freewill by Rush. So Alex, Lifeson, and the gang, they put together some really cool stuff here. This is a pretty good, not too bad of a song to get your hands on. Not that the riffs are easy to play or anything, except that they kind of repeat the same way every time for the most part, except for one instance. So it shouldn't take that long to get through it. You learn 3 or 4 guitar riffs, and you've got pretty much most of the rhythm guitar parts of the song nailed. And then we have the solo, which is a whole different story. I'll be getting to that too as well. Before I do, please follow the channel if you haven't already. Ring the little notification bell so you know when I release a new lesson. And I want to say thank you to anybody who has actually joined this channel by clicking the join button. Becoming a member of this YouTube channel really helps me keep these free song lessons, keeps cranking them out and on a weekly basis. And if you like what I do here, please check out my Guitar Academy, which is at GuitarLessons365.com. So all my guitar courses cover a lot of cool things there. So hopefully you'll join us over there. So let's get to it. We are in standard tuning here, and I'm gonna start here with just this little intro figure that happens a few times in the song, and it's a pretty simple kind of descending C scale. All right, so that little part right there, as you can tell, you can hear in the song a few times. You know, it's just, you can play it like that all in one position, but from just checking out live videos, he actually comes up here and he plays it right here. So let's do this. We have 10-9 on the G string, and then we're going to play 12-10-9 on the D. So we have this. And then we're going to play 12-10-8 on the A string. So we go all the way down to this F here. So we have, from there, you're going to now jump down here to the original position I was just in. Kind of the root C major shape, standard major scale shape you probably know, which is 10-9-7 on the D string, 10-8-7 on the A, and then 10-8 on the low E. So you put all that together. Kind of slide it down, so that's just alternate pick there. And then we have this. All right, so that little riff goes into this little intro section here. From here is going to be repeated later. So now when he hits, especially when he plays live, but you can still hear it a little bit on the recording. When he first hits the chord, he has this, he hits both of the notes, like the first fret on the low E, and then the third fret of the A string as well. So just very lightly, he's not hitting them like a full power chord, just. And then he hits the low E string by itself again, so the F note there, the first fret. So he hits that twice, but the second time it's just a low E. And then we have that little melody, which is 3-2-0 on the A, over to 3 on the low E. So we have this. All right, and then we do that figure again. At least the first 3 hits. And then we have this. So we have this. Yeah, third fret on the A, 2-0 on the D. And then you're going to slide 2 to 3 on the A string, and then hit that open G. All right, so we have this so far. Now from here he goes to this section which is all triads on the top 3 strings. Looks like this. All right, so that starts with this F triad here, which is borrowing the first fret of the B and the high E together. The first fret. Ooh. Now Nirvana's gonna get some of these copyrights of this video. Nice. All right, so we have also the second fret there on the G string. So you're gonna take that and slide it up 2 frets to the G. So, and a couple times when you get there, and then take the same shape and move it up to the 8th fret, so it becomes a C major chord. All right, from there, we're gonna go to this shape at the 7th fret, which looks like, if you know your D major, which I'm sure you do, just at the 7th fret position. So that's 7th on the G, 8 on the B, 7 on the high E. Just those 3 strings, and that's a G major chord. So we have this. Play that G major, and then you move it down 2 frets, same shape, and it becomes an F major. So this. All right, now we start over, but the second time, now live, a lot of times he'll slide to these chords every time, but on the recording, it really sounds like the slide happens kind of the first time through. And then it's just kind of picked like one time here, and then twice here on the G. So we're starting over here. Okay, this F once, the G twice. And it's a little bit different ending now. We're at this F chord. You can hit it 3 times. Then jump up and grab that C major triad we did. Hit once, and then the G major triad. So the whole thing together, so both times around. And then you just repeat. All right, so that kind of section right there kind of takes care of the intro. So that whole intro really starts with this. And jump into those triads. All right, now we get to the the verse of the song, which is very similar to this riff down here. So it looks like this all the way through. All right, so the way to look at this and be able to memorize it is to think of it as the same riff played 4 times with 2 different endings. So when we first played this at the beginning of the song, we did one of the versions already. So we did that in the intro. So you already got one of them down, all right? So the other one that happens here, I'll tell you the orders in a second. So the other one that happens, the first half is the same. Starts like that, but now the ending is this. So that is a little bit different. So we have this, goes 2, 0 on the D string, to the 3rd fret on the A string, and then back up, 0, 2, so that whole different version of the riff looks like this. Remember, the first half is the same. As compared to the first way we played it. All right, so how do we kind of plan this out now? We have 2 different versions of this riff. What you do is the first time, you're going to play it 4 times. The first time you play it, you're going to do it with this ending. The new ending that I just showed you. The next 2 times through the riff, you're going to play the first way we played it with that ending. Look. So this is the 3rd time through now. And then on the 4th time, you're going to go back to that new ending that we did. So basically, it kind of bookends the riff. And then you go to the pre-chorus. So anyway, so the whole riff together, see if you can pick it up. All right, so now let's jump to the pre-chorus. By the way, when that verse is played again later in the song, it's played the same way. So you know a good portion of the song by knowing that riff. So same thing with the pre-chorus. Looks like this. So it's just going to kind of repeat that. So we have this. What you're going to do is you're going to grab the second fret on the A string, open D, and then the second fret on the G. And you're going to also hold the third fret on the B. So when you first hit the chord, you hit these, the A, D, and the G strings together. Then hit the third string by itself. And then the high E open, and then the B string, which you're holding at the third fret. So that little chorus I got on there kind of really makes these kinds of riffs, these kind of arpeggiated riffs sound, really kind of stick out. So we have that. Then all you need to do is take the note that's on the A string and move it down to the first fret. So you can just do that with your index finger. And then it's the exact same picking. So we have this. Then what you're going to do is move this up to the third fret and do a bar. So I'm barring at the third fret while also holding the fifth fret on the G string and the sixth fret there on the B string. So then it's the same picking that we did before. So you're first strumming the A through G strings, then the G, high E, and the B. And then you're going to just resolve that to a regular C major triad. So it's still that bar and then the fifth fret across the D, G, and the B. So we have this. All right, and then we'll go back to the same two opening chords. And then you're going to end it with this. So that's a D chord, and you'll notice that when he hits the chord the first time, he just kind of does it with the open D string in the bass. And then when he hits it again, you're going to hear that it has the A string in the bass. So I have this. And then back to the normal D. And then he just makes it a sus4 chord by laying the third fret there on the high E. And then back down. So I have this. And just repeat. All right, so that's it for the pre-chorus, and then we have the chorus, which moves around a little bit. Looks like this. So that's once again kind of signature Alex Lifeson kind of arpeggiated riff there. So what he's doing here is he's basing this around this D power chord. So it's an open D string, second fret on the G, third fret on the B. So you're going to pick across from the D to the B. So D, G, B. And then he moves the bass note from that open D down to the fourth fret here on the A string. Then you play in still the same top two notes. So, Now when you grab that note with your pinky, make sure that bottom of your pinky mutes that open D string so you don't have to hear that kind of, that does not sound good. So we have this. And then we have the same thing built off of just the A power chord. So hold the A power chord, open A power chord, and just pick A, D, G, and then up to the B power chord, which is second fret on the A string, and then fourth on the D and the G. Pick the same thing, pick across those three strings. So they have this. All right. All right, now we have this. So that is the first ending. We have this E power chord. You're not doing any arpeggiated picking here. You just hit the E power chord. And then it's that D chord. It's a D major chord. You don't have to play the full major though. You can just play like the power chord up top, but you have that third in the bass, the F sharp, by using your thumb over here. So this. So that second fret on the low E, you gotta whip that thumb across. Then you go to the A power chord, and he likes it. He has the fifth fret here on after he hits it initially. Hits it a couple more times and adds these top. You're gonna add at least the fifth fret there on the B. But a lot of times you can hear the A get in there as well. That A note. So might as well hold the whole thing. It sounds good. So it. All right, now we start kind of repeating this, the same. We start over, but it's a little bit different. So after the first two chords here, then things are kind of just reversed a little bit. So what we have first is an open A string. So after we get here, open A string, which is just kind of a little moving, like a passing note to get to this. The B, so we pick across the B power chord basically first. But you do hit the open A first, leading into that B power chord. So the same picking there when we get to the B power chord. And then the A power chord. So before it was A, then B, but now it goes B to A. And we have this open A string before the B starts. And then we're gonna end it with this. So that's that G power chord. Now a G power chord is just like a G major chord, except you don't have a note being played on the fifth string. So you do that, you can pick that up, then mute that fifth string with the bottom of your middle finger. So we have that G chord, G power chord, then that D with the F sharp in the bass again, and then just a regular A power chord. So we have this. So just start that over. Now right here, at the very end, so we've repeated the whole thing twice. This last two, before when we resolved it to A, right? But at the end of this chorus, you do that and you resolve it to the D major chord. And then it goes back into the exact same thing. I said the intro starts there, not that little. So it starts there. So where we started from the intro there, through all those little triads, that whole part happens again, through the same exact verse, the same exact pre-chorus, and the same exact chorus. Now what happens coming out of the second chorus is instead of resolving it to that D, we resolve it to this. So it kind of takes us to, maybe it's a bridge, you know, we can call it a bridge section. So that right there, so instead of that D, we start up at this D note, which is this sliding into this So slide into that D, then pick it again. It's the 5th fret of the A string, and then play 7, 5, 4 on the D. And then it goes and does the same figure, but starting on this C. And it doesn't really sound like he slides into that C too much. So this. So it's the exact same thing, just 2 frets lower. And then back to that, slide back into that 5th fret on the D string. Oh, sorry, 5th fret on the A string, it's a D note. So we have that. You're going to slide into it, pick it again, and then you play 8, 5 on the D string, over to 8 on the A. And then 5 on the D twice. So 5 on that D twice, and play 7, 5 on the G, over to 8 on the D. So we have this so far. And then you're going to end it with kind of half of that little C major scale run that we did earlier. All right, so that is just the part that went down to the F, the first half, and then you're going to slide into this 12th fret there on the G string, and just kind of hold that while Geddy Lee does his little bass solo. All right, so now we've made it to the guitar solo. So I'm going to play through it real quick for you, then I'll show it to you phrase by phrase. All right, so what is going on there? So we have got some harmonics that kind of start this thing. We're going to start with this harmonic at the 7th fret there on the G string. And then you're going to play the harmonic at the 5th fret on the G string. And that's the reason why I'm using this guitar here. I need a vibrato bar that I can go up with. So he's kind of picking these notes, not the first one, but the other ones. He's going to pick and just slightly bend it up with the bar. All right, so hopefully you have a guitar that can do that. So this. And then from there, so we have this. Now you pick it again, just the open G string, and then do a slight bend up, and then let's sing at the 12th fret harmonic, and then the open G again, and then the 12th fret harmonic again, and then the open G. So it's kind of going, after he gets these first two down, he's now doing just these little kind of bar raises off the open G and then the G harmonic. So all together. Kind of ending with that G, open G string there. And then we have this. All right, we'll stop there. So we have, that's, so, sorry, that starts it. So it's a little quick legato lick that goes, pulls off from let me turn this delay off real quick for you. All right, so now without that delay here, we're gonna have so we're basically 12. You're gonna start here with this little legato lick, pulling off 13, 12, 10 on the B string, over to 12 on the G, and then a quick hammer on from 10 to 12 back onto that on the B string. Now from here we have this. Now he gets a lot of pinch harmonics on there, so you're gonna probably want to do them mostly with just downstrokes. And that's just that 12, 10, 13 on the B string, over to 10 on the high E, then back to that 12, 10, 13 on the B string again, over to 10 on the G at the end of that one. Next phrase. So we have, so it's 13, then 15 a couple times. So you do that and like 3 times, and on the 3rd time, you're gonna do a bend on that 15th fret. So we have this. One more time. So you have to do that bit. You kind of release the bend, go back down to 13, and then bend it back up again, release, back to the 13, and over to the 15 now on the high E string. Now from there, we have this. 13, hammer 15, pull back off, slide down to 12, back to 13 on the high E, and then 13 on the B. And then we have the next little lick, which looks like this. So that one's always a little bit weird. So we have 12, 13, 12 on the B string, then over to 12 on the G, and you do that little bar raise again. And then he does a hammer on, pull back off to 14, 12. Then open G, and he grabs the 4th fret there on the G, bar up, bar pull, and then it ends with the open G doing it. So it's kind of a weird. All right, now we get to the fast part. Now, typical of how Alex Lifeson usually does his like fast kind of alternate picked runs is it's kind of halfway between tremolo picking and alternate picking usually. So he has a scale for him that he's usually kind of sticking with when he's going down, but it's not like every single note is being played one time. Just kind of, it's not like there's. It's more of a. So it's kind of like you're not really worried about synchronizing the 2 hands together too much. It's kind of his style of how when he does these fast runs, it kind of gives it this really kind of chaotic sound. So the key is to just be able to trace the notes that he's doing in the left hand, but at the same time, just basically doing tremolo picking. Just pick as fast as you can. Use small movements there and just. So let me play through kind of what he's doing here. It's like I said, because of the nature of the lick, it's going to be hard to get it exactly like he does. It's because it's a little bit, you know, it's kind of erratic. So, and it's supposed to be that way. So you'll never see him play it exactly the same way either. So anyway, this is what it sounds like. All right, so I'll kind of stop there. So Now let me just kind of show you the licks. And you kind of just stick it with these. To 17, 15, 13 on the high E and the B. So you're just kind of going through those like 3 or 4 times, and really, like I said, just kind of just pick them descending. But I'm not really worried about getting it like, you know, the Paul good. Not trying to get every single note just hit once and flying through them. It's not that kind of a lick. So you do that a little bit, and then you start working your way. Just do the F major. You can just go through the F major pentatonic. So that's gonna 15, 13 on the B, 14, 12 on the G, 15, 12 on the D and the A. So we have, and then 15, 13 on the low E. So he might be, instead of just going straight descending, he's kind of just going 15, 13, 15, 13. He's kind of doing that on each. All right, so from here, it's kind of like that. All right, and then we start raising up. We start saying there's a lot of effects going on here too, like really swirling sounds. So it's kind of this. You just. If you know your C major scales, just follow that pattern. Starting on this low C here, 8, 10, 12, and then 10, 12, 13. So all right. Remember, it's not perfectly like 1 note per pick. It's supposed to not be like that. So. And then 12, 10, 10, 12, 14, 12, 14, 15. So those 2 shapes on the A string. So it kind of sounds cool if you. It kind of sounds cool when you go up on a shape, come back down, and then skip up. Do the same thing there. So you can go all ascending, or. All right, so it's really just about getting the right notes on each fingers and just creating that effect, and it'll sound like it. And then we have 12, 13, 10, 12, 14 on the D. It goes up a little bit longer here. 12, 14, 15, then 14, 15, 17. Then go over to the G string, just 14, 16, 17. And then you're going to end it with 15, 17, 18 on the B. So just tracing those notes. And then just take it with this crazy tremolo picking tip. And then that'll give you the effect. All right, then we have this part. Now this is an overdub section, so we have the little triads being played that we've played before in the intro, and then he kind of intersperses them with these guitar licks, and those guitar licks are overdubbed. Live, he does them all in one at the same time, so that's how we're going to do it here. So with the first time through, so that's that same beginning of the that little triad intro part that we did, and then the lick that he does here is based off of the D minor pentatonic. So that's just, and he just kind of sticks on these top 2 strings, so it's 13, 10 on the high E and the B. You can just go between those notes once again, doesn't have to be exact. They can just, and multiple hits on one note, doesn't matter. The key is to end it with at the right time with that 13th fret bend on the high E. So, and then you go back. So that's the second inning. So we had the same little riff we did, and then we go into this bend to the 20th fret, pick it, release it, pull off to 17, and then do the bend again at the 20th. Same little riff, and then a little bit of a slower lick. So we have this bend at the 13th fret, and then you play 10 on the high E, pull off 13 to 10, hammer back on to the 13, back to that 10 on the high E, and then there's a quick little pull off from 13 to 10 on the B. So this, and then the last time through, all right, so coming out of that, that's that same D minor, and that kind of tremolo picking. And then maybe he's kind of doing that, but obviously, when he gets down to the 10th fret there on the A string in the shape, so 13-10 on the B and the high E, 12-10 on the G, D, all the way to the A string. When you get to that 10th fret on the A, then you go back into that little thing that we did in the intro, just all the way that scale down till you get to the 10th fret of the A string once again. So we have this. And you take that and slide down, and really I still consider this kind of the solo section, because it goes down to the pre-chorus riff, but it's a little variation. See if you can pick it up. All right, then it goes to the normal pre-chorus from there. So we're gonna have basically this same riff, the first two chords. But instead of going to here, like in a normal pre-chorus, we have this. You're gonna jump up here and play an F major chord with C in the bass, so the 5th in the bass. So it's a full bar at the 8th fret, and then holding the 10th fret on the D, G, and the B. And that is kind of the same picking, except you're gonna be strumming first the 4 bottom strings, and then the G by itself, then the high E and the B. Resolve that to a C major chord. So it's this full regular bar chord at C major at the 8th fret. And kind of the same. This one has a little bit different timing to it, but I'm sure if you know the songs you can pick up. And then we're back, same ending, except when we get to the D this time, he kind of goes and does that sus4 thing a couple of times here, right before Getty starts singing again. So then we go through the normal pre-chorus, and then back to the normal chorus. And that chorus ends once again with this, well, like before when we went to that bridge riff. So that ending of the song is basically, it goes to the ending of the song, but it's just like the transition we did before when the chorus went to the bridge. It's pretty much the same bridge riff, and we have this ending. All right, so that's the same exact riff, same bridge, and then we do that same lick that we introed the song with. I'm sorry. When you get down to that last note, slide it down and play that G power chord that we played earlier. Strum across it and let it ring. You are done with Freewill. So it's a great track, got some great stuff in it. So I hope you can pick it up relatively quickly. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.